Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we're looking at another great Jim Lee X-Men era comic book from the 90s. The second part of the Longshot crossover. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Let's get right into it. It's funny because Jim Lee was killing it on the X-Men. I mean, arguably he changed the face of comics forever. I feel like he launched a style, and there's certain artists who sort of revolutionaries certain things in art, and Jim Lee definitely set the precedent for superhero artists. Launched a million clones. Everyone wanted superhero books in this Jim Lee style, and of course Jim Lee started it, and nobody did it better. This is nearing the end of his run on X-Men before he jumped ship to go to Image Comics and do his Wildcats thing. Chris Claremont is no longer on the book, so it's definitely a weird era for the X-Men. Issue 10 was the first part of the Longshot crossover, which I covered, so here we go with the sequel. Longshot attached to Dazzler. Didn't they have a child together at one point or something? It's so hard to keep up with this stuff. Definitely a soap opera. Okay, so Stanley Production in association with Jim Lee, Scott Lobdell, Bob Wiacek, Lois Buhalis, Marie Javins, Bob Harris, and Tom DeFalco. So the X-Men are in Murder World. Did they sexify Mojo? Okay, Mojo 2 is like a Mojo on keto, I guess. He has abs, and he looks, in a creepy perv mustache, I guess. Anyway, just looking at this cover, though, this was kind of simple for Jim Lee to kind of do a headshot cover at the time. Still looks great. Love all the rouge on Gambit there. Kind of love Rogue looking at Gambit and him not looking at her. But looking at this cover, with the X-Men 97 coming back, and when I say Jim Lee, revolutionized things, I mean, I feel like the X-Men cartoon was probably, and oddly, I never really watched it, but I think I'm going to jump back on it and maybe catch up with the old one before the new one comes out, which I'm kind of excited about. I feel like a lot of people, this is like the quintessential X-Men for them because of that cartoon. And, it is pretty iconic lineup, I have to say, with Gambit and Rogue. Rogue is so popular. I feel like Rogue definitely won over a lot of, female fans. I think that a lot of, I feel like I know a lot of females who weren't necessarily comic book fans, but they all love Rogue and love her on the X-Men, so I think that's kind of cool. I feel like the X-Men, especially written by Chris Claremont, had always have such great female characters, and oftentimes, usually you'd get the token female on a superhero team. Loving this Mojo. Jim Lee draws a cool Mojo. As I said in my last video, Jim Lee drawing Longshot. At the time, it wasn't Art Adams, so I was like, okay, it's Jim Lee, this is cool, whatever, but not the greatest. And once again, I feel like even though it looks really good, because even a more watered down version of Jim Lee is going to be better than tighter pencils by someone else. But this is nearing the end of his run, and I feel like he definitely wasn't putting as much into it. Is that fair to say? I guess that's not super fair to say looking at this art, because it does look pretty freaking gorgeous. And Bob Wiacek is inking it. Great job. See, Bob Wiacek, I feel like, is one of the undersung heroes of the inking world. He's inked a lot of great artists on so many great runs, Paul Smith's X-Men comes to mind. So I definitely always am down for some Bob Wiacek inks. And doing a great job. Scott Williams is so largely associated with inking Jim Lee. And when you see panels like this, you're like, okay. But for the most part, doing pretty good here. Pretty good. But see what I mean? As cool as that is. And what's happening with, the 90s image crotches anyway? That's the Rob Liefeld first base crotch right there. Multiple layers of, inappropriateness from all of that commentary. Forgive me. These Marvel graphic shirts were so cool. Check out that Eric Larson Hulk shirt. I would love to have that now. How cool is that? Pretty dope Punisher shirt there too. And of course, Death's Head too. Like, he's definitely one of those characters. Like, I think I picked it up for sure because the cool design and the Liam Sharp art. Is he a Predator ripoff? Did that happen backwards? Is he kind of Predator? Am I the only one who sees it? Is it common knowledge? Feel free to comment. How do you feel about the Predator Death's Head 2 connection? But anyway, like, I know very little about the character, nor do I, like, remember any of his story or anything. I just definitely feel like he's one of those characters who looks so freaking cool that they're kind of just iconic on their own. Speaking of iconic, check out this gorgeous double-page spread. Jim Lee and Scott Williams. Oh, see, I mean, you can definitely see the difference. Homage Pop, Jim Lee Studios, Homage Studios, Jubilee, the big Carrie Kelly Dark Knight ripoff there. Gambit Smoking, before it was nixed from Marvel Comics. And, oh, I thought... So she's pregnant, and she's like, Shatterstar, you've got to be kidding me. We're not going to name him Shatterstar. And I thought it said Shattershart, which is hilarious. Anyway, oh, cool. Maverick backup. Scott Lobdell, writer. Mark Texiera, artist. Lois L. Buhalis. I don't know. Lois Buhalis, legendary letterer. Gorgeous. Love that. I'm assuming... Tex must have colored it himself too, since there's no colorist credited. I love Mark Texiera art. So good. So much raw, like, action. It's perfectly suited for, like, characters like Wolverine, Sabretooth, Punisher, Ghost Rider, which I feel like was my introduction to his work, which was so good. Cool as Colossus. I mean, that is Colossus, right? Oh, no. Maybe it's not. Is it? I don't know. What's happening? What's happening, everybody? The Mighty Thor, supersized 450th issue. That is a pretty cool... I mean, I feel like Ron Frenz is definitely the embodiment of the Marvel House style. And I always, like... I feel like, how do I not want to insult it? But, like, I always just sort of took it for granted. I mean, it was just fine to me. And, you know, it's actually pretty good. And I kind of think I like it more now than I used to. I just sort of thought he was definitely like Marvel House style, sort of like, you know, okay, I'll take it. You know, definitely, you know, that's why someone like Mark Texiera stands out so much. He's definitely distinctively his own artist. I mean, I don't feel like there's many artists like him. Although Javier Saltierra, who he inked on Ghost Rider, I feel like had similar sensibilities and they meshed quite well together. But anyway, that was super cool. Rounding out, I mean, how close are we getting? It's not much longer now. There's a couple of fill-in issues, and then we're getting closer to Jim Lee's final issue on the X-Men. I do like the elongated logo here. Anyway, this is pretty iconic. I feel like I've seen this image a million times since its publication. Anyway, X-Men 11 by Jim Lee. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Hit like, share my content. Bring you more later. Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we're looking at X-Men number 12, guest penciled by Art Thibert, mostly known for his inks and a very underrated penciler. I've always loved his work. So I'm happy to share this with you guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button and let's get right into it. Okay, so this is X-Men during Jim Lee's run. Art Thibert is filling in on, I think, pencils and inks, but Art Thibert, he did his own book for Image Comics called Black and White, beautifully illustrated. I love his art, very reminiscent of Jim Lee. He is also a penciler as well. He did 2 issues, I think 12 and 13 of the X-Men. We're going to look at 12 today. Mostly known as an inker, he inked Carlos Pacheco on the X-Men, and I believe some Jim Lee, like he did that issue of Rogue versus Ms. Marvel, forgive me, and just really beautiful style. Anyway, you see this cover, it's pretty cool, and Xavier is being held, and you know, like the X-Men are defeated. So let's see, At the Mercy of Hazard. Let's see what's happening inside. See, this art is so cool. I love it. You know, it's very reminiscent of the time. Art Thibert, rather, is a cool artist. And you can definitely see so much of the Jim Lee influence in there. Stan Lee presents A Tale of the X-Men by Fabian Nicieza, writer, Art Thibert, artist, art assist Dan Panosian and Trevor Scott, Tom Orzechowski, letterer, Joe Rosas and Marie Javins, colors, Beth Harris, editor, and Tom DeFalco, editor-in-chief. You know, this is after Chris Claremont has left the building, and I hung in there, but begrudgingly so. Like, I was not happy that Chris Claremont left, and it was never the same for me. Although art like this definitely does help. I think, you know, we got the Kirby dots happening here. You know, it's funny, even with the heavy influence of the Jim Lee style and the Image style. I mean, come on, is this not giving you Jim Lee vibes all over the place? But we still see some classic hallmarks of comic book storytelling, like Kirby dots. I mean, I think any comic book artist worth their salt definitely utilizes Kirby Crackle or Kirby dots, either way you want to call them. Great shot of Rogue there. It's funny, Rogue just really, you know, started out as a villain and who looked like a middle-aged gym teacher because the way she was first drawn in appropriately or whatever, much to Chris Claremont's lament. He's like, she's supposed to be like 17 and she's drawn like she's 35, 40. Anyway, Psylocke, so iconic. This really is like an iconic version of the X-Men, largely due, of course, to the X-Men cartoon, which I sadly never watched, but we'll be watching the reboot. Maybe I should catch up on the old one. I know you're all gasping and clutching your pearls and dying that I didn't watch the first cartoon. How could I not? But, you know, it happens. There's a lot of good, fun stuff going on in here. Jubilee, obviously just a ripoff of Carrie Kelly from The Dark Knight Returns. It's kind of shocking how they just blatantly did that. But anyway, Sauron just pops up out of nowhere. Toad. Oh yeah, these are like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants blob. Gross. There were such predators in comic books, always like planting unwanted kisses. I mean, come on, Blob. Jubilee's like, what, 13, 14 years old? Sicko. Great shot of Wolverine and Jubilee. You know, Wolverine does have like a history of, you know, like great relationships with other characters like Storm and Wolverine, Kitty and Wolverine, Jubilee and Wolverine. Love the hatchwork. I mean, this is so very much like Jim Lee's X-Men. Art Thibert doing a fine job of capturing the look and feel of that. It's weird because it's, you know, I haven't looked at this in a long time, and it's very, very, very reminiscent of Jim Lee's art, but he's such a good artist in his own right. I still love it. We've got the Mike Mignola signature smoke happening over here. Although it could be Art Adams. See, this is a point where, you know, artists are pulling from all other artists, and who knows where the original inspiration comes from sometimes. But, you know, I really have a lot of deep appreciation for an inker who is a really good penciler as well. And I think that there are more of them than you realize. I think a lot of inkers probably started out wanting to be a penciler, but then realized that, you know, the difficulty of keeping up with the monthly pace. It's a lot easier to keep up with the monthly pace as you're inking. Although that's kind of doesn't make sense in a way. I mean, look at all the work that goes into inking a comic book page. It's just staggering, the amount of detail. Fun use of Zipatone. I love this page. That's such a great... You know, I feel like I said, this is so underrated. I mean, this is very cool. This is just maybe not every bit as good as Jim Lee, but still very appealing in a lot of ways. I mean, who knows what was even happening at this point in the X-Men? Do we really care? I mean, a little bit, right? And the graveyard shall give us its secrets. I love the old silly titles that they would give comic books. Anyway, that is the first part of the Art Adams 2-part fill-in issue during Jim Lee's run. Sam Keith, Wolverine, X-Men, Jubilee, Ghost Rider, Perfection, Charleston Shoe ad. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That was Art Thibert's awesome issue of the unadjectived X-Men series during the Jim Lee era. Hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit like, share my content, and I'll bring you more later.